So I just finished watching Apple's latest keynote on their new iPhones, and I have to say, I think this year is gonna be the toughest one to decide which phone to get. So just to start off, I don't have either the XS or the XR with me. I'm not gonna feature them in this video. I'm just gonna go over the specs with you and let you know my thoughts on which one you should buy. I'm a very small YouTube channel, so they're not gonna invite me to these kind of events or give me that kind of access. So I'm just gonna work with what I have. So when it comes to the XS and the XR, the big differentiators are the display, the camera, and the wireless network. When it comes to the display, the iPhone XS has a 5.8 inch up to a 6.5 inch display, depending on if you get the Max or not. These are OLED HDR displays, which means the contrast ratio is insane. HDR stands for high dynamic range. This basically just means the brightest thing in your image and the darkest thing in your image are both gonna be visible and both retain a lot of detail. So if you watch a lot of movies or media on your phone, they're gonna look amazing. The XS also still retains 3D touch. Resolution on the XS is also much higher than they are, coming in at 2688 by 1242 with a 458 ppi. This just means the sharpness of your image is going to be very, very high. All the text is going to be very crisp and not pixelated. On the other hand, the XR has an LCD display. Apple is calling this their liquid retina display. Basically what they did here is take a traditional LCD display, add a bunch of more pixels to it, and round out the edges. But Apple managed to pull it off so all their phones look uniform and have the same display look. While the XR's LCD display won't have anywhere near the dynamic range of the XS, this is something I believe most people will never notice anyway. If you don't have the iPhone X like I do, your cell phone right now has an LCD display, your computer has an LCD display, your TV most likely has an LCD display unless you paid $2,000 for an OLED display. So this is something that you're honestly not gonna notice if you don't have it, and even if you do have it, like me, I switched back and forth between LCD and OLED from this phone, and it's something that I really would never notice if you took it away from me. But beyond the display technology, both phones actually have identical features. They both have True Tone display, they both have a wide color gamut, and they both have the same amount of brightness. Now, when it comes to cameras, both phones actually have the same exact camera when it comes to the wide angle lens. They both are 12 megapixels, they both have live photos, they both have portrait mode, they both have portrait lighting, and they both have the new Smart HDR feature. Both of them also have that quad LED True Tone flash. The only difference between the XS and the XR is that the XS has an additional telephoto lens. This allows you to zoom in optically instead of digitally. If you're someone like me, I never switch the cameras anyway. I just pull out my phone, take a quick picture, and put it back. The same goes for your video features. They both have the same exact video features. The only thing you're gonna be missing on the XR is that you're not gonna have that additional lens, so you can't zoom in optically. When it comes to the front-facing cameras, however, both phones have the exact same camera array. Both cameras are 7 megapixels, both support live photos, both support portrait mode, both support portrait lighting, both support animojis and memojis. So when it comes to the front-facing camera, you're not missing out on anything. They both also utilize Face ID, so there's no more button on the home screen, no more fingerprint reader. You're gonna have to use a camera to unlock your phone. And with that loss of a home button, they're both gonna utilize gestures to do everything. So if you're somebody who's holding out on your iPhone, your older iPhone, because you really love that home button, it's time to let it go because Apple has moved on. When it comes to splash and water resistance, the XS has a higher IP rating of 68, whereas the XR has an IP rating of 67. This just means the XS can survive up to 2 meters of water for 30 minutes, whereas the XR can only survive 1 meter in water in 30 minutes as well. But if you're not someone who's next to an ocean that often, you don't really have to worry about this feature. 1 meter at 30 minutes is plenty enough for most people, for your bathrooms, for your pools. You're not really gonna have to worry too much about dropping your phone and it being screwed up. When it comes to wireless signals, however, the new XS has gigabit LTE, which means in theory you could get 1,000 megabytes per second download on your phone from your carrier, but this really depends on whether or not your carrier supports this feature and you're in an area that has great cell phone service in the first place. If you don't have those two things, then the gigabit LTE is not going to do anything special for you. It's going to function more or less the same as anything you had before, such as the XR is going to have that more standard LTE configuration, so you're going to get the same download and upload speeds you're experiencing now on your current phone. Now, according to the specs, both phones have the same audio configuration, but I'm not sure if that's correct because I'm pretty sure in the keynote they said the XS was going to support Dolby Atmos, and I'm not sure if they confirmed that the XR is going to support the same thing or not. When it comes to battery life, the XR actually lasts longer than either XS model. It's not really a significant difference if you're comparing the XS Max to the XR, but if you're comparing the XS to the XR, then it's a bit more of a difference there. You're going to get about 20 hours of talk time on the XS, and you're gonna get 25 hours on the XR. When it comes to sensors, they both have the same gyroscope, accelerometer, all those things are gonna be exactly identical on both phones. When it comes to dual SIM cards, Both phones are actually going to support eSIM, Apple's new electronic SIM card. So you can have your T-Mobile number with your Verizon data plan if you wanted to, something like that. Or if you're going overseas, you can have your T-Mobile base in home, and then when you're going to Europe or something, you can have whatever cell phone provider there's over there. Now, the biggest and most surprising thing to me that both phones are actually going to offer is that they're both going to support Apple's new A12 Bionic chip. This means that both phones are actually going to have the same exact processor, same exact GPU, and same exact neural network that's used for machine learning that really doesn't matter to most people, but it has the same thing. This is very surprising, and I believe it's a first for Apple because usually they put a lower end processor in their budget phone, but here you're getting the same exact processor, same exact performance in theory, and storage, of course. Both phones start at 64 gigabytes, but if you're someone who takes a lot of pictures, the 512 gigabyte model of the 10S probably be a lot more attractive to you than the 256 model of the 10R. I think it's very difficult to justify going up to the 10S when you can get a 10R for $250 less, save yourself a bunch of money, and get essentially the same phone minus the nicer display and the extra camera. So for me personally, I think I would go for the 10R. I have the iPhone 10 from last year, so the price point really isn't an issue for me. It's just the price for power, I guess. You're not really getting much more for that extra $250. So I would suggest just sticking with the 10R. Unless you're someone who's super anal about display quality and is gonna nitpick over every little pixel, or if you're someone who takes extremely large amounts of pictures with your phone and you want that extra storage and you want that extra camera because you're always on your phone taking pictures, that's really the only people who should be getting the 10S over the R. If you're just a standard phone user, you just use your phone for a couple games here and there, whatever it is, just get the R, save yourself a bunch of money. Yeah, that's just my quick hot take on this new iPhone after watching the keynote. But if there's another reason why you think you should pick up the 10S over the 10R, leave me a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Or if you agree with me and you're thinking about picking up the 10R, let me know which color you're gonna pick up. I'm still undecided myself. But if you like this video and you found it helpful, maybe consider subscribing. It really means a lot to me. I just passed 3,200 subscribers a couple days ago. It's blowing my mind that I'm growing this much. But as always, my name is Joshua Munoz. Stay sexy, and I'll see you sometime.